Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to, bless you. Salute. Welcome to the Town of Islip July Town Board meeting. The weather's a little crazy today. It was nice and sunny this morning, but threatening, so hopefully we'll get this in before we get any more storms. I'd like to begin the meeting by asking a gentleman who serves us well in the Public Safety Department, in the Office of Public Safety, who just returned from a tour of duty. So grateful that he returned home safely. Dominic, if you would, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Dominic, and welcome home. This month, we celebrate our nation's independence and the heroes who fought and sacrificed to bring us our freedom and the liberty symbolized in the very flag we just saluted. As we are reminded of these heroes, I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize one such hero from our town community who recently received special national recognition. Having served our nation as a member of the United States Marines, Islip's own Justin Hespeler would go on to serve New York City as a member of the NYPD and afterward as a member of the FDNY. Lieutenant, why don't you come join us, please? You have someone in the family with you. Please ask him to come forward, too. In November of 2021, Lieutenant Hespeler responded to an active fire in a Brooklyn home. Upon arriving on scene and learning that a newborn baby was trapped in his crib on the second floor, the lieutenant immediately jumped into action in search of the child. Battling through heavy black smoke, Lieutenant Hespeler ignored the call for all personnel to evacuate the building and continued his search. Risking great personal harm as he battled the conditions, the lieutenant was able to locate the unconscious 5-week-old child and carry him to safety and to the rescue of his life. For this tremendous act of heroism, Lieutenant Justin Hespeler was this May awarded the Presidential Medal of Valor in Washington, D.C. Today we are so proud. Yes, we are really so proud to be celebrating the lieutenant and his very truly heroic actions. So please join me. And where is that little certificate we have here somewhere? Seems to have disappeared. To congratulate the lieutenant. And you must be very proud of your dad. What is your name? Caleb. You're very happy that he's home safe, correct? Yeah, so are we. I'd just like to have the town board join me and we'll get a group photo. As we present the errant citation, it made its way here. Thank you so much for sending us that. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry to be in your way, but I'm not moving this furniture. It'll tumble apart. Well, thank you very much. And we just have a few quick announcements before we begin the agenda for today. We are very proud to announce the start of free public tours at the Islip's Great South Bay Shellfish Hatchery. The facility, which was recently featured in the town's award-winning original documentary, The Blue Point Oyster, is dedicated to the responsible development of the aquaculture industry, as well as improving water quality in the Great South Bay. And anyone who hasn't seen it, I urge you to go to our website, YouTube. You can, it's short, but it is really interesting. It's so well done. And we thank everyone who was involved, especially to our Commissioner, Marty Ballou, who runs a really great operation there. We thank you. Thank you, sir. These free guided tours will show where and how we work to cultivate shellfish seed through the life cycle, and we'll discuss topics such as the town's involvement in the restoration efforts, aquaculture, as well as our participation in research and education initiatives with local universities and nonprofits. Tours are every Wednesday from noon to 1 p.m., and just go to the website and you can schedule a tour. And just yesterday, Harry Smith of the Today Show and his crew filmed a segment at our hatchery highlighting the program, so be sure to stay tuned. Harry Smith, I'd never met him before. A lot of people know him, and we're very, very excited to hear he was coming to the town. But he was so excited when he went into our hatchery and actually saw what was going on, and then followed the trail and went on to Salt and Barrel in downtown Bayshore to see those oysters being shucked. And someone asked me if the crew all sat down and had oysters. Actually, they had hamburgers. But anyway, it was kind of exciting. So again, thank you, Marty. Also, a reminder that our Islip Summer Fun Series has officially begun, featuring movies in the park, concerts in the park, as well as drive-in movies. And all of this comes to you free of charge, these concerts, the parks events and everything, because we were very fortunate in securing a grant to underwrite these activities from Good Samaritan Hospital and Catholic Health. Our second concert of the summer this Wednesday, July 19th, is at Ronkonkoma Beach Park, featuring the popular tribute band Foreign Journey. These free concerts, again, are so much fun and the perfect way to spend a summer night with your family and friends. There are food trucks there, or bring a picnic supper, but the trucks arrive at 5:30 and the concerts start at 7:30. Also, there's a list of all of the upcoming movies, concerts, and drive-in movies on the town's website at islipny.gov. And lastly, next month, the town will host our first Unity in the Community celebration. It will be held at Islip Grange in Sayville. So many people have been participating on the committee planning this fun-filled international craft, cuisine, and cultural festival, and it will highlight multiple ethnic, religious, and cultural groups throughout our town, and via entertainment, food, merchandise, and more. So mark your calendars, Saturday, August 12th, and be sure to join us as we celebrate the many cultures that comprise our town and honor the unity of our community through the common vision of inclusivity, diversity, equity, and accessibility. As we all stood up and pledged just moments ago, we are one nation, under God, indivisible, and we are one town. Thank you so much. Okay, we have three scheduled public hearings this afternoon. I'd ask the town clerk to please read the first hearing notice.
Hearing number 1 is to consider enacting local law 4, establishing Chapter 69 of the Islip Town Code titled Bureau of Administrative Adjudication.
Okay, do we have no one who signed up to speak on this public hearing? Do we have any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none. I'll entertain a motion. I don't have any card. Did anyone fill out a card on the public hearing? I don't have any Well, you'll have a chance at the public portion, but I'm just asking if anyone has signed up to speak on this particular public hearing. If you wish to speak on this public hearing, I would ask that you please fill out a card, and you may come up and speak.
The town board now wants to
Excuse me,
be
it is a public
judge and
hearing.
jury.
Excuse me.
What?
It is a public hearing. If you would please, for the record, your name.
No, we don't have to give our name. I'm an Islip resident. The town board now wants to be a judge and jury, whereas they tried to do this also in 2019. It never happened. You did your big Islip code enforcement kickoff. Now, how in 2022 did you have $696,000 in dispatchers and only $83,000 in code enforcement? You had a block of 20 people sign up for something to be done about overgrowth and the town's property. You did nothing. And now you want to be judge and jury? Thank you.
Thank you. Did you fill out a card?
I filled out a card.
On
My
the
name
public
is-
hearing? On the public hearing. We're
I'm a
talking
little
about...
confused. That's why I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
is this resolution you're talking about proposal the same as item number 4 on the agenda?
No, it is not.
Okay, thank you.
This is public hearing number 1 on today's agenda. And there are no other cards of anyone who has signed up to speak on this public hearing, so I would entertain a motion on the hearing. But before we do, I would just ask the town attorney to just maybe respond to the accusation that this is judge and jury, because this is certainly not what is anticipated, planned, or has happened in many of the other towns across the county of Suffolk.
Excuse me. The town of Islip, due to its population size, has the right under the New York State Town Law to establish this bureau. It's my understanding it's being done as a policy decision by the town board in order to address the number of quality of life issues in the town of Islip. It's going to take us out of the criminal district court. It'll allow us to levy monetary fines only. It's also my understanding it's supposed to be more user-friendly with the participation of the building department, the Department of Planning and Development, the Zoning Board of Appeals. We've, ever since I've worked here, coming over from the district attorney's office, just on a personal level, couldn't understand why we took code cases to criminal court and prosecuted them under the same rules, the criminal procedure law, that we used to prosecute murders, homicides, robberies, and rapes. So it seems to me this is a long time coming. I think it's going to be a benefit to the constituents and the taxpayers of the town, and we're actually looking forward to it in the town attorney's office. I don't know if there's anything else I can add to that.
No, thank you, Mr. Walsh. That really does explain the intent. Also, the fact that it is very, very frustrating when residents reach out to myself, to members of the town board, with issues in their community, complaining about it and want it rectified, and we send someone out, whether it's a fire marshal, code enforcement officer, whoever goes out to view the complaint. They get a notice of violation. They have 30 days to correct it. Then they go back out. So meanwhile, the person that's put the complaint in is waiting for a resolution, only to be told, yes, they got, they were issued a violation, and now it goes to court in Ronkonkoma. And there it gets adjourned time and time again. It literally could take a year or two before something is finally heard and resolved. By having things done right here, it is not only going to be more convenient, but hopefully we'll be seeing these quality of life issues that really affect everyone's everyday life in our town be addressed in a more timely, humane fashion. So we thank you, and with that, do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo, second? I'm sorry, to close the public hearing and approve the resolution. Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Thank you. Madam Clerk, if you would please read the second hearing notice.
Hearing number 2 is to consider amending the Town of Islip Uniform Traffic Code, Schedules G and Schedules J.
There are no cards that have been filled out to speak on this public hearing. I would then entertain a motion.
Make a motion to close the hearing and accept the amendment.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Madam Clerk, please, the third and final hearing notice.
Today's final hearing is to consider the transfer of property located at 91 Jefferson Street, East Islip, under the Town of Islip's CDA's housing program.
There are no cards. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion?
Motion to close the public hearing, offer the resolution for its adoption.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. There are no other hearings. We
Motion to close the hearing.
have a motion to close the public hearing session, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Closed. We will now move then to the public portion. This is an opportunity for the public to come forward to speak on any issues or concerns they have in the town. You have 3 minutes, and we just ask that in the interest of civility, you be respectful and understand that we're here to serve, we're here to help, we're here to listen. The first speaker today is Ashika Moore.
Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Ashika Moore. I'm from Central Islip, New York, born and raised 40 years. Raised 2 girls throughout the Central Islip High School, and they both attend New York State colleges. I'm here with a few members from the Long Island Cannabis Coalition, and we are fully aware that the town of Islip has decided to opt out of retail sales. And I guess I'm here today not only to ask the question of why we opted out, but to also address the benefits of us opting in. Definitely when it comes to things like the tax revenue that it'll bring to the communities, that's definitely meant to go to our education system, also our law enforcement. I'm also going to speak on the jobs that it's going to provide to the community. I'm going to open up my book really quick because I did write a few things here. And I wanted to speak on the fact that all these illicit pop-up shops are popping up everywhere. All these illicit, these smoke shops are selling these illicit products. And it's a big problem for the kids and our community because it's definitely not regulated at all. We have 13 licensed cultivators here on Long Island, and right there alone with those 13 cultivators, there are a lot of jobs to be had there. I also wanted to talk about, you know, right now averaging $200,000 to $400,000 in sales per week, and 85 to 89% of Long Island opt out of those sales. And we're meant to have 40 stores here in Long Island. With that being said, we're missing out on like somewhere between $8 to $16 million in tax revenue a week. Again, the Long Island Coalition would like to be able to sit down with the town board of Islip, with the Office of Cannabis Management, and address any concerns or issues that you have, whether they affect the community directly or indirectly. We would like to start a dialogue to see what we can do to try to get the town of Islip to opt in. I guess that's really why I'm here today. And on a personal note, I just want to say I support the revitalization of downtown Carlton Avenue. It looks beautiful. I also signed up yesterday for the Shellfish Tour.
Oh, good for you.
All right, guys.
You'll
thank
enjoy it. Thank you very much. Next speaker, Leslie Rodriguez.
How are you, Council? My name is Leslie Rodriguez. I am 42 years old, and I am a disabled medical cannabis patient. With the New York State allowing this program to roll out, I want to understand why I have to drive 27 miles in order to get my medication refilled. With the concerns of public health and quality of life, I understand that you guys are trying to keep the community safe, but you're deterring me from allowing my medical rights to be provided and the ability to do so with the stores not being here, and we need them here. So I would love to understand why this is in place and how come it's so difficult for me to get what is my medication for my surgeries that I have with the state. That's basically all I have for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker, Andrew Klingman.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Andrew Klingman. I work with Island Advantage Realty. I'm here today in regards to the public hearing for the property address 37 East Haley Lane in Central Islip. My office represents the bank and current owner of the property. It's my understanding that there was a notice to remove nuisance letter issued and sent to my client. We were made aware of this yesterday late evening, and I'm here today on behalf of the current owner of the property, Hudson Homes Management, U.S. Bank Trust, to request leniency from the town, possibly 1 week at most, to bring the property into compliance. I visited the property today personally. I took photographs. One of our vendors was able to secure several of the damaged and broken compromised windows. We understand that the town requires the property to be boarded to HUD standards, which is what we're looking to accomplish within the next week. We're also seeking to clean up the overgrowth and the vegetation from the exterior, as well as litter and debris. We take this matter very, very seriously, despite the property being under active eviction proceedings and litigation surrounding it. But we also understand that we do have a duty on behalf of our client to at least maintain the property in requirement with the town of Islip. So any type of leniency I could get today from the town would be greatly appreciated. I'm more than willing to provide my direct contact information so the town of Islip doesn't have to send letters to an 800 number, only for the notices to trickle down to our office several weeks later. I apologize on behalf of my client and the need to bring the property into compliance today.
All right, thank you, Mr. Klingman. That's item 4 on the agenda, and when we get to it, we certainly will take your comments under advisement.
Oh, I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. No,
Thank you
no,
very
no
much,
problem at
members of the
all. Next speaker, Jim Schlau.
Bonjour tout le monde. Jim Slough, Central Islip. I like this here. It was in the Islip review. Possible judges approach for quality of life. Great idea. I give the board accolades for this. I hope this works out. Now, I wanted to bring up something that's not directly pertaining to the town. But I'm kind of a C-SPAN watcher, and I watched a House hearing on immigration and border security. Now, one of your buddies was there, Garbarino. I don't know if you know Nick Lalata and Anthony Desposito, and Jim Jordan, Republican of Ohio, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. They were raking Eleanor Asa, human rights, refugee protection person, and they had asked her, where are you getting your funding? Are you getting it from Soros? And she repeated yes. Now, this is a long meeting, so I can't give you all the details. I hope you would watch it on C-SPAN. It's 3 hours long. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, 18th District, Texas, asked her, what would Jesus do? And I thought that there were 300 million people worldwide, according to archaeological data from that era. Now the world has 8 billion people on it, and a lot of them are coming here. And our houses are packed. And I didn't buy a house in Central Islip to live in an area that's packed like this. Are you listening to me, Madam Supervisor? Okay, because I wish that you would watch this on C-SPAN. You can listen to
Christ.
Garbarino speak. You can watch it on a computer. If you don't want to hear the whole meeting, because it's over 3 hours long, you can scan along the bottom, and then you see what they have to say about what's going on around here. This is not the 1940s when Levittown was a potato farm, or when the Spitzhaven Mall. That was a potato farm. There's no place to expand to. Shelter Island doesn't look like this, but CI does. And you got to lay down a law, and I hope and pray that this here works out. This is a great idea. That's it. Can you take these pictures, please, to see some of the things? Can you give these to the board? They're reoccurring problems.
Thank you, Mr. Schlauer. Thank you for your confidence in our initiative on the court. Next speaker, Ken Gesick.
Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor and the Town Board. I am here today on behalf of the Islip Methodist Church and the parking. I know we're going to be voting on that today, but before we start with that, I would like to make a nice compliment here. The fields coming from the Parks Department, the fields in the town of Islip, I'm loving seeing what's out there. The turf fields going in and the upgrades, it's really a nice thing to see there, and kudos to the Parks Department there. I do notice, though, all those fields have something. They have parking that's available to them. They weren't built, and then we had to go look for parking. They have parking available to them, and you're going to have 50 people there, 60 people maybe, and the parking is there. Now, we're talking about the building with the old Islip movie theater, where there is no designated parking right now for what's going on, and we're going to be giving them 28 slots. 28 slots. It leaves the church and the thrift shop there and the sewing place and the haircut, and most of all, Islip community, maybe 24 slots, 30 slots, somewhere in there. But my issue there is, and it wasn't talked about last time when David Bush was here, we have Islip Community Nursery School back there, and their drop-off and pick-off point is there in that lot. They are coming through there in the morning and late morning, dropping their kids off and picking them up. They have to park in there. And now you have little kids, and we all know what little kids like to do. They like to run and go. That is an issue there, where we're setting ourselves up for something drastically bad to happen. I don't want to see that. We're also looking at our church, our thrift shop. They're going to be parking on the street. The parking is going to be limited in the back. Our thrift shop depends on the income it brings in. It supports probably about 50% of our budget now. The 50%, without that, we're not going to make it. I'm also asking that in front of the church for Sunday mornings that there is a no parking sign put up on Sundays from 2 to 8 a.m. to stop people from parking there. That way it allows us to park in front of our church at least, and we don't have people that are staying over at the old movie theater, stay there. I'm asking you to consider this and make amendments and take into consideration that you're putting people in risks. Also, the new fields over at 401 in the back, like I said, great fields, beautiful complex. Parking, there's going to be more games there, and parking isn't a problem right now, but when one game ends, the other people are arriving, and you're going to have a lot of traffic going through there on Saturday and Sundays, which could create a problem. We're talking about quality of life here, and because of all this going on, we want our quality of life. We want to enjoy living in Islip. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gesick. Next speaker, Debbie Kavanaugh.
Good afternoon, Debbie Kavanaugh, Central Islip Coalition of Good Neighbors. First, I'd like to say we support the first public hearing. We think it's a great idea. Also want to state we do support the town opting out on cannabis. And what I'm here to talk about is the trees that still have not been planted on the failed property, formerly Farrell. Farrell was given a CO prior to the project being completed. It's been 2 years. The trees are still sitting there. They're going to die, and that needs to be taken care of. Also, we have a concern on Eastview Drive. The one traffic circle is great for the Little League fields. It slows people down. However, as soon as they get through the traffic circle, they're back up to 55 degrees, and the seniors from Islip Landing still have a problem trying to cross the street to get to their clubhouse on the other side of the road. And Foxgate is still asking for a no turn on red sign on Lowell Avenue because it interferes when people turn without turning with the traffic light. It's dangerous for them pulling out of their complex. Thank you.
Next speaker, Pat Mundus.
Afternoon, Madam Supervisor and the town board members. I'm here as it regards 74 Forest Drive in Ronkonkoma, and I'm speaking on behalf of my friend John Coet that I've known for 45 years. John Coet is a retired police officer, and after he retired, he became disabled with a joint disintegration issue. He had 4 joints replaced, 2 shoulders and 2 hips, which forced him on a walker, and the house in question, he had a citation from the Code Enforcement Division because it was overgrown and the house needed to be painted. And he was unable to do any of that upkeep because he was on a walker. And I just wanted to, he's too humble to tell you these things himself, so that's why I'm here. This house was his grandmother's house. It was built in the 40s. John was raised in that house. He raised his own children in that house, and he's been there for the last month. The whole house has been painted. All the standing deadwood has been cut down. All the debris has been removed except for the back deck, which is behind a fence and requires a tractor to get rid of it. So I just wanted you to know that the house is definitely not abandoned. It's definitely his grandmother planted trumpet vines. I don't know if you've ever cleared a property that has trumpet vine on it, but it takes a lot more than 30 days to cut vines down. So he's hard at work there. And I do appreciate your efforts to try to streamline this problem with houses that are abandoned, houses that are overgrown, and that are health and safety hazards. But I just really, caution you to please do not throw the baby out with the bathwater here. This house is not abandoned. It's his domicile, and he's there working. So I would hope that you would give him some kind consideration. And I do have this photograph for you, which shows, the work in progress.
Thank you. And as I said to the gentleman earlier, these come under item 4 on the agenda, and your comments certainly will be taken into consideration when we consider it.
Thank you very much for your listening.
Next speaker, John Coeth.
Hi, I'm John. Hello. I am John Cohut, and I'm everything that you just said.
And she spoke very nicely on your behalf.
Yes, so thank you. I was a little kid on this property, and I was basically disabled, so I was trying to keep up with it, but it was difficult, and it actually, and sad to say, but I'm actually going to let the property go, and I'm negotiating right now with somebody to rebuild the house, so the whole thing is going to get redone. I'm sorry to say it's not going to stay in the family, but sorry. This house means a lot to me. I was a little kiddie. Basically, that's it. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you, and thank you for your service. Next speaker, Pat. Thank you.
Today, I want to talk to you about the truth, the unadorned, unvarnished truth. The truth is important. Without the truth, we cannot order society. Without the truth, we cannot survive as human beings. Without the truth, we cannot thrive as human beings. Can you handle the truth? The truth, I think it's important to speak your mind, so I do. Now, that makes some people mad, but I try not to worry about much of what anybody thinks of me. This might be a tough pill to swallow, but I'd rather drink weed killer than sugarcoat the truth. And my question, why, when the residents fill out foils, they are ignored? Anything financial, they're ignored. And it's the supervisor's job as the chief physical officer of the town. The other question, there were, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5, 6 times, Islip resident workers, actually, not residents, town workers, fly through the stop sign where the town refuses to clear the property that's on their property, actually. Bamboo, weeds, and everything. And you want to talk about quality of life, you can get killed. And when I called about it, because I was the one the park ranger flew through, you ignored it. You didn't want to know about it. Then at 401, you have up there, no cell phones while operating town vehicles. Well, I've got plenty of cars here, town workers talking on their phone while they're driving. And my last question, I'd like to know where the 4 vehicles are that the town got rid of somehow that were registered to vendors that the town DPW uses. They had town seals on them. I would like to know where they are. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Next speaker, Greg.
I would just like to clarify the record from the June meeting when the supervisor misinformed 2 residents. One was the topic of a gentleman from Central Islip where the residents were blowing stop signs, and he wanted to know the jurisdiction of Route 111. Supervisor commented it was a Suffolk County road or county road jurisdiction. He said he would get in touch with them. It's not. Route 111 is a New York State route. Secondly, Mr. Cross referred to the Tritech apartment complex over in Bayshore as being 5 stories. He's right. If you stand on the southeast corner of 3rd Avenue, right near Mr. Cochran's insurance building, you look up, there's a duplex, there's the 5th-story duplex apartment at that corner, bringing the height to 5 stories. Now, you can even refer to the field engineer who's stationed there on 4th Avenue to get clarification. So it's 5 stories, Angie. And it wasn't Governor Hochul that gave the approval to build such a apartment urban complex now in Bayshore. It was you. Okay, so you're creating a city-like environment right here in the town, which is now going to be converted into a urban situation, an urban development right there. So where Ed Romaine has his Ronkonkoma hub, Angie has her Bayshore hub. Okay. Now, secondly, at the May meeting, you were saying that the people were reimbursed for the ambulance exchange for the 22 year. Rob Stadelman, in an email foil, said that 114 residents were refunded their co-pays. And this is for from January 1st of 22 to October 31st of 22. Keep in mind, this is a 10-month stretch we're talking about, where in a year they respond to over 3,000 calls. So the math's just not adding up when it comes to the refunding of these people. Secondly, when we fail to see how much money is actually being refunded to these residents, 3 years, there's no records. No records at all of this money. Okay. Secondly, they They actually went into a billing contract with Medicare Exchange Ambulance back in 2020, January 1st of 2020. They started billing Medicare, okay? They also went into contract with the Professional Ambulance Billing Company, LLC, back in September 17th of 2019. So why aren't these people being refunded? I only have 8 seconds, but a woman from the Patch wants to know, will her mother be reimbursed for the 21 year when she needed 2 ambulance calls then from Exchange?
Thank you, Greg. Next speaker, Vicki Powell. Vicki or Richie? Not sure. 2nd Avenue, Islip, Powell. Anyone here? Okay. Bree Assi Abe.
Good afternoon. My name is Briege Bay, and I live at 47 Ellen Street in Bayshore. Sorry, I've never done this before. I'm trying to look at you and read at the same time. I'm requesting
If
that
you
the
could
board-
just speak into the microphone, it's a little difficult to hear you. Thank you.
Okay. I'm requesting that the board look into the property located at 204 Brentwood Road in Bayshore. This property is double zoned as a business 1 and a residential property. The property violates many town codes, including tractor trailers which are parked and idling throughout the night, tow trucks which load and unload vehicles, an active fencing company which begins clanging their fences at approximately 7 a.m. A dog groomer, which allows their dogs to relieve themselves in a wood pile from a recent logging business that has restarted after being ceased in 2015. Landscaper trucks, which come in and out throughout the night. In addition to the loud yelling, the screeching of sharpening tools from the loudscrapers, and encroachment onto cemetery property, which the town has been made aware of. I personally, in addition to some of the neighbors, have been complaining for approximately 3 years prior to buying this house. An aunt owned the house and began her complaining in 2015. This property has many violations. I've been on the phone with many different town offices, and basically they're saying, yes, they see all the complaints, and it's a matter of getting out to these board meetings, so here I am. Even though the right to quiet enjoyment is usually referring to renters, myself, my family, and my neighbors are being denied this right to enjoy our homes in a quiet neighborhood because we all have to work around the schedule of the owner of this property. He will often call and say, hey, I'm about to make a lot of noise, but his fence, in addition, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that there is no, I forgot the name of it. There's no border between the property and mine, which is residential. His property borders the back of my property. That's the residential aspect. He has a fencing company which is butted up against the fence property. So as they clang the fence, I'm in bed being awakened by clanging noise. There is no the 25-foot, 30-foot border that's supposed to be there. There is none. My son used to climb the fence and have to worry about the poles poking through the fence line. So I'm asking you to review this and look back, because I know these complaints go back to 2015.
Okay, thank you very much. I do have a question for you. You mentioned 3 different businesses, but just one address.
Yes.
Are they all operating out of 204 Brentwood Road?
There are more. There are quite a few that are operating through
Out of that one location?
through the residential
Okay.
part of
And
the
no
property.
setback?
No.
All right, thank you very much. We'll give this to code enforcement.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Penelope Jasper. Penelope Jasper. Okay, next speaker, Harry Penn.
Good afternoon, supervisor and board member. I'm here to talk about Central Islip, quality of life. I've been here since '82. That's 41 years, and I haven't seen the neighborhood change, particularly the redlining. The new people that the real estate bring here, they've been told that you can rent your house out many people as possible. So that's the problem I have in Central Islip. I have the Apricot Shopping Center, where the new immigrants sit out there all night long. Me and my wife refused to go to that shopping center to get our nails done, and because of the people that hang out there. Now, we're in the process of writing them a letter to talk about the quality of life. I went up there this week. They took a person out, and I went up there to see what was happening. The garbage was all over the place, and they drank till they get their fill. That's the new immigrant that hang out at that shopping center. Now, when I moved here, there was different clientele that hung out in that shopping center, the Apricot Shopping Center on Apricot and 111. Now, to deal with the gas station, the BT gas station, they went for various over the years, and they got trash that hang out behind the gas station, the garbage in the street, because of the trucks that park there and throw their garbage out of the window. Now, I got a problem with that area. Then I got a problem on Cinnamon Street where I live. I live at Tree Avenue in Cinnamon, where they throw the garbage out on that for that deli. They put up a fence so the snow don't push you in there, but there's garbage in there. And the truck driver, they throw that garbage out the window. So it's a quality of life that have been going down drastically in the last 41 years when I moved here. I moved here in 1982. Now, the previous administration used to give me a letter back. They acknowledged what I talked about. I don't know if my accent confused you or what, but I've been in many different neighborhoods that I have seen better quality of life. And I just left Babylon, where I used to live. I lived in Northport, and I lived in Huntington Township. So I have seen many neighborhoods change. So I guess my time is up, but I have more to say in the future. Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome, Harry. Thank you for coming down. Next speaker, Kyle Marcotte.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the board. I always feel it's important to start off with something positive. So I want to thank the town on behalf of the Islip Fire District for assisting us with sidewalk repairs on Monell Avenue. The Board of Fire Commissioners, the members, we appreciate it. So I just want to start off by thanking you for that. I'm here to speak about, and on behalf of the Islip Fire District Board of Fire Commissioners, in regard to agenda item 19 regarding the parking lot for the movie theater that's to be redeveloped. We've met as a group with the commissioners and the town on numerous occasions and with the developer, and we've voiced our concerns about parking, and I'm here to just reiterate those concerns about parking. For those of you who might not know, we don't have enough parking spots right now on the fire district property. If you go past the firehouse at any time there's a call, you can barely even get in the parking lot, which is a good thing that we have a lot of volunteers responding. But the concern is with the apartment that inevitably, no matter how many signs we put up, the developers put up, no matter what they put in the lease, they're going to park in our parking lot. And unfortunately, that's going to impact response times. And that's part of the health and safety for the residents of the town of Islip. And in regard to the town municipal parking lot there, That overflow, our concern is going to be that they will park on Smith. And we will have issues if they do park on Smith, getting the trucks out onto Smith. We have big engines, big ladder trucks that come out onto Smith, and no matter which way we go, if we go down the south or go the north, we're going to have issues responding out of there. So we're asking that you hold this decision for further discussion. We've been very open with the developer, open with the town. We're willing to meet at any time. We've met a bunch of times, but we'd like to meet some more. So we'd ask that you hold the decision to authorize the parking lot use there. And again, we're here. We're looking to be a really good neighbor, and we're looking to be and work with the developer. Just include us in the meetings, and we're here. We'll float ideas around. So again, I'll say it for the third time. We're asking you to just hold the decision today. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Okay, that concludes the number of the speakers who have signed up. I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion. Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The public portion is closed. We will now move to the agenda. Good afternoon, John. The first resolution on the agenda is the meeting of the Town of Islip Industrial Development Agency. I'll entertain a motion to convene. Motion to convene. By Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The industrial agency meeting is convened. The quorum is present.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, members of the agency board. John Walzer, Executive Director, 40 Nassau Avenue, Islip, New York. I have several items for your consideration today. The first order of business is to approve the minutes from the agency board meeting on June 13th of this year.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Approved.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda for your consideration is an inducement resolution between the agency and Ferraro Foods of New York East, LLC, at 80 Wilshire Boulevard in Edgewood. Ferraro Foods is a New Jersey-based distributor of Italian foods and other related products. This project involves the relocation and expansion of the company's Long Island operation. They will be leasing 230,000 square feet here in Islip at 80 Wilshire, making a $4.5 million capital investment and bringing with them 85 to 100 jobs.
Any questions? Hearing none. Motion? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? It is approved.
Thank you. The next item for your consideration is an authorizing resolution for a project that we induced at last month's meeting. 161 East LLC is a 20-unit multifamily housing development in downtown Bayshore in close proximity to the South Shore University Hospital.
Any questions? Hearing none. Motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
Thank you. The next item for your consideration is a resolution authorizing the assignment and assumption of the OL Coventry LLC project to a new ownership entity.
Any questions on this resolution? Hearing none. Motion? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Approved.
Thank you. And the last item I have for your consideration is a resolution authorizing the agency to enter into an agreement with Executive Consultants of New York for sponsorship of the Job Search Boot Camp, which will take place starting in September and be available to all Town of Islip residents.
And that is provided to residents free of charge, correct?
That's correct.
And it is very, very popular, not just for those seeking employment for the first time who are out of work, but also, too, for those who are looking to advance their careers. So it's kind of exciting to have it back again. Any questions? Motion?
Second.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Since there is no other business to come before us, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
We will now move to a meeting of the Town of Islip Resource Recovery Agency. Motion to convene, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? We have a quorum present. Mr. Baloo.
Madam Chair, members of the agency board, I have a couple of items for consideration today. First one being the approval of the minutes of the March 14, 2023 agency board meeting.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved.
Next item is a resolution authorizing the president to enter into the agreement between the agency and the Hauppauge Union Free School District to provide for the collection and processing by the agency and/or the town of certain recyclable materials generated at the facilities of the school district for the school year 2023 to 2024. The school district shall pay the agency a fee per pickup for that collection of recyclables.
Thank you, Marty. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved.
Yeah, and I think...
No other business, or is there?
I have to give my name, Martin Ballou. I'm president of the Islip Resource Recovery Agency, 401 Main Street, Islip, New York.
Thank you very much, Marty. Again, and thanks for your efforts at the hatchery. It was very exciting yesterday.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you very much, Marty. Next, we move to item 3, authorization for supervisor to enter into a license agreement for 2 parcels of town-owned Bay Bottom land for the purpose of shellfish cultivation in the Great South Bay. Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 4, town board authorization to clean up or secure certain properties in the town of Islip. We have a number of them today. 2 of these items we had speakers on, and we'll address that when we get to it. The first being Haley Avenue, Central Islip. Jeff?
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Supervisor, members of the town board and the town clerk. Jeffrey Panasci, Assistant Town Attorney, 655 Main Street, Islip, New York. I do have 9 properties on for your consideration here today. Number 1 is to board and clean up the premises located at 37 East Haley Lane in Central Islip. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists open windows allowing access to the interior of the premises, as well as high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire safety and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Was this the one in question?
Yes.
Yes,
Mr.
okay.
Klingman still here, Mr. Klingman?
Yeah.
Okay. So Jeff, is it okay?
Sure, absolutely.
Jeff, you heard Mr. Klingman speak at the public portion of the meeting.
Yes, I did. I also spoke with him over the phone, or a representative from our office did.
I want to make sure this goes okay today. In the past, we have allowed applicants, Mr. Klingman represented that he's a representative of the bank, correct? Correct. Okay. And the bank has asked us if they can have a week to continue to clean up the property and make efforts to clean up the property. Yes?
Yes,
That's what he represented at the hearing.
that is what he represented, yes.
In the past, what we have done is we have passed the resolution because there is cost and expense on behalf of the town to advertise publicly for the resolution, to send out all the notices for the resolution. So we have passed these resolutions in the past and allowed the applicant 2 weeks to clean up the property before we notified our board up and clean up contractor, Sitco. We have done that in the past, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Would there be any objection to doing that today?
That's up to the board, certainly not from me.
I would make that motion. Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve this, but to allow them that little extra time to commence cleaning up and getting the property in compliance. We have a motion and a second.
Okay. I do have a comment, but I'm going to keep
Good thinking.
Nothing.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Number 2.
Number 2 is to clean up the premises located at 56 Orange Street in Central Islip. On this vacant property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire safety and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Hearing none, motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved.
Number 3 is to clean up the premises located at 74 Forest Drive in Ronkonkoma. On this vacant property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire safety and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Likewise, on this particular parcel, the owner came forward and someone speaking on his behalf asking for a little leniency and granting them perhaps another week or two before we commence. But likewise, on the previous Central Islip location, I'm sorry.
If I can just make a comment, just to clear my name a little bit. On a situation like this, I'm okay with it. The gentleman lives in the home. He's doing his best. He was disabled, and he's doing it. With the big banks and the big companies that, you know, the only time they come down here is when we send them a letter and say, clean it up, and all of a sudden they're like, we need more time. That's where I have the issue with, so I'm all for this. Noted.
Thank you. And we are not passing the resolution. We're passing the resolution and just allowing them a little extra time because, quite frankly, by the time the resolution passes and everything that has to take place takes place, 1-2 weeks go by anyway. So it is duly noted that we'll allow them that little bit of time. So we have a motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved.
Number
Item 4.
Oh, sorry, is to board up and clean up the premises located at 87 Willett Avenue in Sayville. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists a missing cellar window allowing access to the interior of the premises, as well as high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire safety and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was also provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved.
Number 5 has been withdrawn as it is now in compliance. Number 6, to clean up the premises located at 156 Grant Avenue in Islip. On this vacant property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire safety and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Hearing none. Motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
Number 7 has been withdrawn as it is now in compliance. Number 8, to board and clean up the premises located at 184 Twin Lawns Avenue in Brentwood. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists an open front door allowing access to the interior of the premises, as well as high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire safety and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with the property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. That takes us to item 9, the last one.
Yes, number 9 is to board up the premises located at 255 Ocean Avenue in Brentwood. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists open windows allowing access to the interior of the premises, as well as an unsecured rear detached garage, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire safety and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? I'll make that motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved.
That's
And
all I
that is
have.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Next item on the agenda, number 5, meeting of the Town of Islip Foreign Trade Zone Board. I'll make a motion to convene. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor or opposed? We are convened, a quorum being present. Mr. Hemingway, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the Foreign Trade Zone Board. My name is Brad Hemingway, and my office is at 1 Trade Zone Drive in Ronkonkoma, New York. Today I have a short agenda, just 2 items. First item is approval of the minutes from the June 13th, 2023 meeting of the Town of Islip Foreign Trade Zone Board.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved.
Next is authorization for the Town of Islip Foreign Trade Zone Authority to extend the current lease with Trade Plaza 1 LLC for the address of 1 Trade Zone Drive, Ronkonkoma, New York, 11779, until 2033.
Are there any questions? Hearing none, motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. And
Nothing
I
further.
believe there is no other business to come before us. A motion to adjourn, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, number 6 of the appropriation transfers. Are there any questions? Hearing none, motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 7, Town Board approval to add a bank to the list of authorized depositories. Are there any questions? Hearing none, motion? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Next, item 8, authorization for supervisor to enter into an agreement with Alessandro Bologna to provide dock master services for the Fair Harbor Dock District for 2023. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 9 are the bid awards. Any questions? Hearing none, motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 10 are the option year resolutions. Are there any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo? Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 11, authorization of the town clerk to advertise for a public hearing to consider amending the Town of Islip Uniform Traffic Code. Any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 12, acceptance of a monetary donation for up to $25,000 in funding from the Community Development Agency to upgrade the existing decorative street light fixtures in downtown Bay Shore. Are there any questions? Hearing none, motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 13, authorization for supervisor to enter into agreement with Pioneer Sports LLC to provide a hockey clinic. Any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 14, Town Board acceptance of a deed from Above All Equities, Inc. for a portion of a parcel of land on Veterans Memorial Highway, Holbrook, for highway purposes. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 15, acceptance of a deed from Alpha Capital Partners for a piece of property located at 20 Brewster Street in Bay Shore to be used for highway purposes. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 16 are the special events. Quite an extensive list of exciting things happening around town for the summertime, including a bazillion block parties. Are there any questions? Hearing none, motion? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 17, appointment of Catherine Sasso to the Islip Town Environmental Council Board. Any questions? I'll make that motion. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 18, authorization town clerk to advertise for public hearing to consider changing the official map of the town of Islip by deleting a portion of Da Vinci Drive in Bohemia. I'll make that motion. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 19, authorization for the supervisor to enter into a license agreement with 410 Main Street LLC for the non-exclusive right to utilize parking spaces within the Town of Islip Municipal Parking Lot in exchange for a per decal fee, improvement of the municipal parking lot, and a mitigation fee. We did have a speaker on this, and I do want to note that there was considerable discussion on this at the last meeting, too, or at the change of zone hearing, about making sure that we had a commitment on the part of public safety for adequate enforcement of any of the parking regulations, and that we were going to look at the area as far as making sure the signage was clear, abundantly clear, about parking restrictions. Also, too, I think the suggestion about the parking in the church area might be something taken into consideration when this is all pulled together, as well as no parking from a certain distance to the driveway exit from the firehouse, to make sure that the parking is kept back a distance, not to impede the entrance and exit of fire equipment from their parking. Counselor, was there anything else in the discussions with this that I may have omitted? Any questions on anyone's part?
When we did review this significantly with the change of zone, and there was a negotiating parking mitigation fee with the applicant, and that's part of this resolution, I see as well, the mitigation fee.
And, you know, the parking lot will be enhanced, restriped, I'm assuming. And also, too, I think the issue that was raised about the church preschool program utilizing our parking lot, the municipal lot, for drop-off and pickup of children, we could make sure that it is adequately signed to make sure that they're safe. But again, it is a public parking lot.
Madam Supervisor, if you don't mind. I think the gentleman from the Islip Fire District is just looking for a little more time. Why wouldn't we just extend that to them? They're working with the town, and they're working with the developer. Why wouldn't we extend them a little more time to square away whatever they had to square away with that? That's my only concern.
Well, I do think, you know, there was a lot of discussion about that, and approval today is not the be-all and end-all of it. They will be sitting down and looking at the signage, not only with traffic safety, but with the planning department. That was my understanding. If I'm wrong, please, someone correct me.
Well, I want to speak on this, Supervisor, that, you know, we built a perfect field in 401, and I'd like to see the parking lot that they said they were going to do increase in 401 before we get this parking lot on Smith done, because it is being used by the church and the fire department. And I'd like to see the growth across the street before I see this happening on Smith. So.
Well, I guess part of it is the chicken and the egg. You know, if we don't pass this resolution and give them their approvals, I don't assume that the mitigation fee will be coming forward. And that was part of what is going to be used to create the parking, the additional parking at 401. This is Councilman O'Connor's district, correct?
No, it's Councilman Cochran's.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's up to you guys. What do you want to do here? I think we should keep this moving along. Certainly, no one is going to be precluded from meeting or discussing this, but it has been under consideration for a long time, so I would make the motion to approve.
With the church and the fire department and us, just to make sure, and the applicant, to make sure this goes forward. So waiting another month, I don't think is an issue.
I have to agree. I think that the Islip Fire District's looking just for a little more time, and I think we should.
Okay, fine. Then I'll make the motion to table, and we'll address this at the next meeting. Do I have a second? Second. We have a collective second, so we will table this to the next meeting. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 20, authorization for the supervisor to enter into a 5-year on-call engineering services agreement with Johnson Kukata and Lucchese Engineers, PC, to provide professional engineering services for Long Island MacArthur Airport. Any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 21, authorization for supervisor to execute a change order to the contract with Commander Electric in connection with Phase 2 of the rehabilitation of the main terminal building at Long Island MacArthur Airport. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo, second. By Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 22, authorization for supervisor to execute a change order with LEB Electric for edge lighting and signage replacement at Long Island MacArthur Airport. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second. By Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 23. Yes? Yes. Authorization for supervisor to consent to the assignment of the lease by Patricia Biba for real property located on Captree Island in the Great South Bay to her 2 adult grandchildren. Are there any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 24, authorization supervisor to accept funds from Suffolk County for the Youth Development Delinquency Prevention and Runaway Homeless Programs in the town of Islip for 2023. Motion by Councilman Lorenzo, second. Second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 25, appointment of Ronald F. Devine Jr. to the Islip Housing Authority Board. I'll make that motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 26, authorization for the town board to extend the contract with Intelitech Security Services for a 60-day extension period. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. And that is it for the resolutions. Motion to adjourn by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.